Well, Nigeria's political atmosphere continues to reflect both progress and pressure as citizens grapple with rising concerns over the state of the polity. Across the country, emerging threats to democracy, from shrinking civic space to rising economic frustration, are testing public confidence in national institutions. At the same time, the search for a resilient security solution remains urgent, with communities calling for reforms that strengthen intelligence, deepen cooperation, and protect vulnerable regions. In this moment, many believe Nigeria's stability will depend on leadership choice that prioritize accountability, national unity, and a renewed commitment to democratic values.
Now, joining the conversation is someone who has worked at the heart of Nigeria's political landscape. Hakim Baba-Ahmed is a member of the Northern Elders Forum and also the former special advisor on political matters to President Bola Tinubu. He joins us live from Kaduna. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me.
All right. So I'm sure that, like many Nigerians, you are worried or concerned about the insecurity problem across the country and also in the northern part of Nigeria where you come from. Now, former governor of Zamfara State, who is currently the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, is seen as someone who did a very poor job as regards insecurity in Zamfara. And it is the view that he lacks what it takes to continue to sit as Minister of Defense or Minister of State for Defense. I'd like your view on whether you think he should resign from that position or be fired by the president.
Well, thank you. I'll leave that to the president who appointed him. Mr. President has gone through a process of changing former heads of chiefs of defense. Heads of defense is appointed a new minister of defense. We've seen some efforts to address the top echelons of our defense and intelligence services. If the president thinks that Matawalle can fit into this new scheme and new energy and new resolve to fight insecurity, I think it's entirely up to him. I do agree with you that people are focused on whether Matawalle will stay or go. Not everybody leaves their jobs in government, but if I advised Matawalle, I would ask the president to assign me somewhere else or go do a job. But it's not up to me. It's entirely up to the president. But the Minister of State, the Minister of Defense, is sticking out like a sore thumb in the context of all the changes that have been going on. So we'll wait and see. If President Tinubu wants to tolerate a politician in a very sensitive position, that's entirely up to him. But it is becoming very difficult to see how the Minister of State stands in as a part of a member of a team when we are demanding for an overhaul of our security assets and systems.
Okay, now keeping up with the conversation of who should be in power and making decisions, you've recently made a statement saying that President Tinubu should rethink a rerun. Why did you say that?
Well, I would have thought it's obvious. He's been in power for, what, 2.5 years in Nigeria. In spite of all the statistics that are routinely churned out about how the economy is improving, the poverty levels, malnutrition levels, the hardships, the difficulties are mounting. So clearly there's a disjunction between what appears to be, to the government, the performance of the economy, and the lives of the people of Nigeria. So in the primary area where President Tinubu would claim to have made an impact, restructuring the economy, improving key sectors of it, there is a wide discrepancy between what he says he's doing and what the people are saying they're living in. He hasn't done a good job managing security either. President Buhari left a terrible security situation. President Tinubu does not appear to have improved it. But on the contrary, it appears that he has made it worse. It's his call. The buck stops with him. So he's the one we hold responsible. He also has other challenges. He's aging. He has achieved his own ambition to be president. He said it was his turn. Nigerians gave him a chance to be its turn. He would have been president for 4 years by 2027. I don't think he has anything else to prove. If President Tinubu loves Nigeria, loves the survival of Nigeria, I think he should call it quits. I don't think he has anything more to offer beyond 2027. I should look for someone else from his party or somewhere else who can do better, who has better qualities than President Tinubu.
Okay, Dr. Hakeem Baba-Ahmed, I think it's time we moved from individuals to the need to strengthen institutions. And you come in today with a strong towering influence as one of the most influential power and political brokers in northern region. I'm saying this because just a few days ago, the northern governors in Nigeria came up with some strong resolutions, which is one that they paid attention to the growing religious intolerance in northern Nigeria, the need to place a ban on mining, and also to address the issue of farmer header crisis. Looking at the communique, do you think there is a strong political will, and do you think this is the way forward for northern Nigeria?
Well, certainly those recommendations appear to have touched key elements that are fueling insecurity in the north. I worried a little bit when the governors were saying ban mining. They don't have the power to do that. And they have a huge amount of influence and visibility around the presidency. I would have thought they would take this recommendation to President Tinubu and say, listen, mining is not under the state. We don't have powers to stop mining, but this is the nexus. This is where insecurity meets mining, and we think you should stop it. And they should give him concrete evidence that it represents a positive step towards resolving insecurity issues. There are a few other recommendations they have made that suggest that they are now beginning to look at issues afresh. I think this is good. The truth is, this government, both at the federal and state government, needs fresh ideas, fresh outlooks, and new strategies to deal with the insecurity that is swamping the country. We are desperate in the north. From Borno to Sokoto, from Zamfara to Taraba, every community lives in fear. Something has happened in the last 2 or 3 years that has just simply created this huge space where non-state actors, killers, bandits, kidnappers, rapists are just taking over our lives. And what we are looking for are new strategies, new thinking, new energy. The president thinks changing service chiefs, changing Minister of Defense, recruiting 200 to, I think, 20,000 more policemen, 20,000 more military people would make a dent on the issue of insecurity. We would have to wait and see, but I wish we wouldn't have to wait for as long as the president wants. And in his own interest, the president shouldn't take the issue of insecurity to the elections. I can tell you that if he flags insecurity, or the opposition flags insecurity as a major electoral issue, it will be very difficult for this government to win this election in a free and fair election. It is a very big problem. We would have to wait and see whether the brand new Minister of Defense, General Musa, who is a very good man, very good officer, whether he can find a way to break through all the protocols that have prevented ministers of defense, service chiefs, the military hierarchy itself, the community, the intelligence community, the security committee. He needs to find out why we keep sliding back. I don't like to use the word losing, but we're actually losing the war against killers in this country. When do we turn the tide? How do we do it? Can we do it with the way we are going about this? Nitpicking on bits and pieces? Or are we going to be able to find a new resolve that brings together everything that we need to put in place to deal with insecurity in this country? Right now, that is the challenge. Nigerians are looking up to the government. The Americans are breathing down on our neck, insulting us, abusing us, saying we are coming to fix your problem since you can't fix it. And there's a lot of worry in this country. I think Nigeria is at crossroads. Between now and 2027, we have to find a way to make the lives of Nigerians more secure. We have to find a way to address the issue of insecurity, which is dividing Muslims and Christians, Northerners and Southerners. And basically, we should put everything aside and deal with security.
Okay. Why do you think the northern governors have suddenly found their voice? Because as you pointed out earlier, under the late President Muhammad Buhari, insecurity was terrible, and he did, an underwhelming job handling that particular area. And it seemed like the northern governors, or northern traditional rulers as well, were quiet under the administration. What has changed now? Why have the governors and traditional rulers suddenly woken up to you, if I may use that word?
Let me correct you. I think you're being unfair to the northern governors. Even under Buhari, northern governors spoke up. You would have thought with all these governors that the APC is eating up. Northern governors, many of them, I think there are only 5 northern governors that are not in APC anymore. The fact that they can actually get together, they're not necessarily criticizing President Tinubu. They are suggesting improvements in the manner in which security is managed in the north, and they are right. But I don't think it is the right thing to compare what the northern governors did under Buhari and what northern governors are saying now. As I said before, President Buhari left a terrible legacy in the management of security and the economy. President Tinubu came in and said, give me a mandate and I'll fix Nigeria, I'll fix the security, I'll fix the economy. He hasn't done so. Northern governors are speaking up, and that is what they should be doing.
Widen the conversation just a little bit more here, and let's talk about one of the top stories that we've had, which is the coup attempt that we just witnessed this past weekend. Do you think these recent coup attempts in the region pose a risk profile for Nigeria?
I do. I think it's a very worrying development. If you look all around Nigeria now, the number of countries that are going under, that is becoming non-democratic, is very alarming and is very worrying. Just yesterday or the day before, Nigerian troops had to get involved in putting an end to an attempted coup in our neighbor Benin Republic. There are 1 or 2 other countries very, very close to us that are still tilting towards a collapse of the democratic system. The truth is that democracy is under attack. Democracy is failing in Africa, particularly in West Africa and the Sahel. This is very worrying. It's worrying because we don't want to live under the military. When I say we, I'm talking about most of West Africa. And yet, leaders elected democratically are not doing the jobs they should be doing. There must be a marked difference between leaders who come by force, who know absolutely nothing about governance, about running the economy, about security, and people who say, give me a mandate, I'm qualified to run the country, and I can do that. People are not generally happy talking about the damage that could happen to Nigeria in the event that some few military personnel in this country said, look, Nigeria will be better under the military. But we must we must talk about it. This is our country. We must say very clearly, we don't want to live under the military in this country. By the same token, we must say to those we elected freely and openly, you need to improve your game. Look all around you. The main reason people are saying we want the military back, or the military find it easy to fight their way into power, is basically that they will say the government has abandoned the people. We don't want a military government. We don't want a coup in this country. We don't see what the military would offer better than the civilians, the politicians who are running us. We chose our leaders. We elected them. We want them to do better. So Nigeria has to be very, 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 very sensitive to what's going on. This piecemeal collapse.
I'm sorry, we just have to wrap it up because of time. So very much indeed engaging conversation. You've brought in so much insight in this conversation, but unfortunately, we need to succumb to the inevitable rhythm of time. And thank you so much indeed for joining us, making our time to be part of this conversation on Daybreak. And that's all we have time for here on Daybreak. I'm Benga Ashiro. It's goodbye from me.
And I'm Constance Ipoku. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak. The morning show is next. Bye-bye.